Okay. Can you hear me?
But first of all, are you in praise and worship?
I've moved away. I was in church.
That guy is in a bar.
I don't know whether I had oh God, you are an awesome God. Or I had better girl, bed down, bed down. I don't know what I had. But okay, you
I
can.
was in, but I've moved away a little bit.
I can bet you Amalale, Okello is in a bar. And Hillary, both you and I both know where that bar is.
No, but he might have a bar in his house, so he's at home.
Uh, so, what is sorry, I've got in a little bit late. I'm going to request you, Hillary, to Okotil to align me if I swerve off the.
As
First,
from the perspective of a performer, not even an events organizer or just a stand-up comedian, you've gone off, you've been on stage performing for an audience, and then you go off, and in your mind you're like, okay, this was a bad show.
I think what makes what from a performance perspective is what makes a bad show. First of all, is the feedback. Comedy gives you instant feedback. One, though it's not conclusive because there are times you can have a performance and nobody's laughing, and then somebody comes to you is like, my brother, this show was very nice, and yet you have not had anybody laugh. So sometimes it's a bit confusing. Like I've had an instant whereby I died. Actually, I died on stage, but three people walked and tipped me. So I was very confused whether they were tipping me to get off stage or they were.
Or they were giving you donation so that you leave comedy and invest that money in farming.
Uh, uh, exactly that. So what makes a bad show comes from the feedback that you get instantly from the audience. Another instance is I at a certain point I got a gig. Sometimes also gigs we get because we are broke are bad. I was extremely broke, and then this gentleman calls me, says there's this company. We have our gig going on. We have our end of year, and we want you to come and perform. And they asked, how much do you charge? And then I mentioned an amount way beyond the actual price, and this gentleman did not negotiate. When I mentioned my price, he said, it's okay, come to our office, we pay you. And then they paid me upfront 100%. But then by the time the event, I was okay financially.
Uh,
But because of
have you eaten money already?
I didn't part of the money already. But out of the excitement and what I forgot to ask very important questions, what kind of audience am I coming for, and all that, I just read the name of the company and I made my assumptions. So they introduced me, the MC introduces, ladies and gentlemen, the guy I'm introducing, all this, and then I go on. The introduction alone, the reception that I got from the audience showed me, you have accepted the money, but this is the wrong audience. Because nobody cared about stand up. And then I do my first joke, it bombs. Second joke, it dies. By the second joke, when the second joke dies, somehow your heart tells you, maybe the issue is the audience, the issue is not me. You do the third joke, fourth, they had told me to perform 30 minutes, but I stopped in 10. And I told them, good night, guys. So later, I was finding out and I realized that I was performing to casual laborers of the factory, of the company, not the corporates that I had assumed, because these people apparently always have two parties. They have one for the casual laborers, the guys who are doing the hard been stuff, the guys want their Luganda. That's when I realized the audience wasn't actually mine. It was for somebody who could do vernacular. You get. So what makes a bad comedy show? I think the feedback from the audience, the instant feedback from the
Inside.
audience should.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Perfect. When you mentioned, there's something you mentioned and it got me thinking. You talked about how you're performing, and then you start saying, maybe it's the audience, maybe it's not me, and it reminded me of the Cotil. It reminded me of the 5 stages of grief. I don't know if you know them. So
My friend. Denial.
you're on stage performing, and the first stage is denial. You first say, these people are just
Eh,
listening.
Mm.
It is, let me just be louder.
eh.
You increase that's why you start hearing comedians shouting, now we were walking. Now you start shouting. That is denial. Please, if you're watching,
Mm.
if you want to hear a comedian making noise, just know now he's in denial stage. After that, after denial, if people are still not laughing, it goes into anger.
Mm.
Anger, that's when you see comedians slapping each other. These duos, you see them slapping each other on stage. Kati kwe jangu, we kati nsabula, eh? After anger, you go.
I've
You are saying something, Okello.
I've ac- yeah. With those stages, I've actually witnessed a comedian do a backflip. Like they did the first joke didn't work, did the second joke, the joke didn't work, and she literally told the audience, like, okay, if you don't want comedy, let me be an acrobatic for you. And she started some.
I was telling them here, they thought I had made it up.
Now, when you finish anger, this is the part I like. When you finish anger, you go to the next stage. It's called bargaining. That's where you hear somebody asking the audience, "Nekati bana, museke, guys, we came to laugh. Let us enjoy. Let us laugh. We are together." When you finish bargaining, you enter depression. After depression, you acceptance.